Hey, I am Salt Lake. This is Atheist, previous guest on the podcast. I wanted to call in and tell everybody about an event that's coming up called The Elements. It's on Saturday, April 27th at the Shred Shed, which is 60 East Exchange Place right in downtown Salt Lake. So it's The Elements. We're going to have live graffiti, breakdancing, rap battles, DJs, MCs rapping. We got a great lineup. Atheist B-Side, Cigarello Burner, Dying Crew, DJ Scratch Mo, Anyone, House of Lewis, Lunatic Asylum Boys. It's going to be a great night. So come on out. Tickets are $10 pre-sale. We're on 24tix.com. So that's The Elements, Saturday, April 27th. All right, thanks, I'm Salt Lake.
Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Welcome to the I Am Salt Lake podcast, episode 57. My name is Chris Hollifield. I am the host. This is my show. Welcome to it. Thank you so much for listening in. And taking a few minutes out of your day to listen to my podcast. IamSaltLake.com is the website that you can find everything podcast related. We got links on there for iTunes and Stitcher Radio. Also links you can stream them directly from the website. Have the voicemail link on there, the email link, everything to get in touch with me, which I urge you to get in touch, reach out, and let's become friends. I like to find out who my listeners are, find out what they think of the show, and find out if maybe they even want to be a guest on the show and tell their story and what they're doing to make Salt Lake City just a little bit better. Wednesday night, I had the opportunity to go to the City Weekly Best of Utah Awards to help celebrate the award I got for Best New Podcast here in Salt Lake City. Really great event. A lot of really great people. Thank you, City Weekly. And thank you again to you, the listener, for helping make that possible. For the I Am Salt Lake to get a Best of Utah award. Really, really cool. Had a little family emergency that I had to tend to, had to fly down to Southern California, down to Ventura on Thursday. So I was there over the weekend. Now I'm back just trying to get my bearings straight and get the ball rolling again with everything with the podcast. Hey, I got a really great show for you guys today. I sat down with Zach Martinez from ZaxWorx. Don't know if you guys are familiar with this guy, but he is getting bottles and cutting them, making drinking glasses, and I'm talking old Coke bottles, old beer bottles, new Coke bottles, doing a really cool thing. ZaxWorx.com. I'm going to put all the links on the website. That way you can check them out and check out his website, get in touch with him and support him in this project that he is doing. Not going to give away too much. Kind of found out a lot about it in the conversation that I had with him. So like I said, he is the guest on today's show. I want to give a few thank yous really quickly to our friends at The Mediocre Show for all of their recent support and for everything that they've done to help out with the podcast. If you are not familiar with The Mediocre Show, check them out. MediocreShow.com. They're in iTunes. Download all the previous episodes. They're live on Wednesdays, 8:08 in the p.m. That's 6:08 here, Utah time. You can stream them live online and check them out. Again, that's MediocreShow.com. So big thanks goes out to you guys. I'm going to play a song at the end of this, right after the interview with Zach, by a group, Broken Silence. It's a song called Can't Stop Pushin'. It's some local hip-hop, really great track, and I'm going to play that at the very end of the episode. I think that's going to about do it. I got some really great interviews that are going to be coming out over the next few weeks, so make sure you subscribe in iTunes. Leave us a review in iTunes. That really helps out our ratings, helps get us in front of more people. And if you want to be a guest, like I said, I am saltlake@gmail.com. Let me know. And if you're also a local band, send those MP3s over. I'd love to keep playing your tracks on future episodes of the show. I think that's going to about do it. Let's jump right into that conversation that I had with Zach Martinez from ZaxWorx.com. Why don't you kind of go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay. My name is Zach Martinez, and I make drinking glasses out of beer and liquor bottles, pretty much. I also make like hanging pendant lights. The ones you see hanging above a bar or above someone's kitchen sink or whatever. I can make pretty much any liquor or beer bottle into a hanging pendant light as well. So I do that as well. I also do a little bit of watercolor tattoo style artwork on the side as well. For the longest time, I've been really, really into tattoos. And for a while, I wanted to be a tattoo artist. It was just like a dream of mine. But, as I got a little bit older and I got more established in my job, I realized I can't really afford to go do an apprenticeship because pretty much from what I understand, if you do an apprenticeship as a tattoo artist, you got to go almost a year unpaid.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I can't do that. And I can't commit like full time every day to that. I would love to do that, but it is what it is, and I couldn't go a year without pay. I mean, maybe I could get a part-time job at night or something to help with the bills. But I mean, I own a house, I own a truck, got lots of bills, stuff like that. So I've kind of just put that aside and made it a hobby of mine. Just the same as the glasses. I mean, the glasses isn't really something I'm trying to build a full-on business out of. It's just something I'm doing on the side. And I enjoy doing it. And if I make a little money on the side, that's great. If not, I'm still going to do it because I enjoy it. It gives me something to do.
But wouldn't it be great if you could build it up to become a full-time?
It would. It'd be awesome. I'd be fine with that. But the problem is I don't sell enough right now to kind of get an idea of whether or not I could keep up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it was something that could pay my bills every month, I've never sat down and figured out, okay, how many glasses would I have to sell to be able to do that, to be able to quit my job and be comfortable? And could I keep up with that? Could I really put out that many glasses a month?
So right now it's just it's a fun hobby for yourself.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's something you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
What inspired you to start it? What prompted you to say, okay, I'm going to just start cutting bottles?
Well, one of my good friends, Tracy, been friends with her for years. Tony and Tracy, they're husband and wife. We met Tony first through my best friend Rafe went to college with Tony. Tony went to school with Rafe. That's how we met Tony. And anyway, Tony and Tracy is a big vodka drinker. She loves Belvedere. So just one day surfing the internet, I stumbled upon this guy who was making glasses out of liquor bottles. It was a company. It was called, I don't know if I want to say the name. I don't want to promote them. They're my competition.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So anyway, I kind of came across that, and I was like, that is awesome. Let's order those for her. That would be a great birthday gift. So we ordered those for her. They came shipped to the house. I was excited to see them and just check them out and see what they look like. Took them out, looked at them. At first, I was like, these are fucking awesome. So yeah. I'm gonna, I was looking at them, looking at the edge. As I got to look closer, the edge was kind of, I don't want to say it was rough, but it wasn't polished and smooth and nice and round. Like
the way your glasses are.
And so I looked at that and I thought for a second, like, if I could figure out how they do this, I bet I could do a better job than this. But that was all that was the most thought I gave to it. And then I moved on. Never thought about it again for months. I just thought about it and then that was it. We gave them to her as a gift and all was cool, whatever. So I want to say maybe 8 months later, I came across this video on, I don't know how it's pronounced, Vimeo or Vimeo.
I know the site you're talking about, and I'm sure our listeners do too.
So it's basically, if you search Vimeo and search for a video called The Knife Maker, it's about a guy in Brooklyn who started to make knives just because basically his story was he was a graduate for, I can't remember if he has a master's degree or not, but he was a graduate in writing, in creative writing. You know what I mean? So there wasn't a lot of jobs available for him. So he decided to do something on the side to just keep himself busy. Because he said, I found myself needing to make these creative offerings on a daily basis. So he said he started to try to experiment with the knife making thing. He said at first, I'm not going to go into the whole story, but I mean, it basically is a story about him starting it up from nothing. And then eventually he became
something,
a big deal in Brooklyn, in New York. He got hooked up through certain connections with chefs and they're buying all of his stuff. And he makes a really cool awesome kitchen knife. You know, that's his thing now. You know, at first he was making like hobby knives or decorative knives or, you know, fancy looking knives, just stuff like that. But he eventually went into the kitchen chef's knives and whatnot. Anyway, just the way that video was done was so, I don't know. I had to watch it like 6 or 7 times in a row. I was like, this is awesome. Like, this makes me want to do something. And it got me to thinking. I just had to sit and think about it for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. And I remembered back when we got those glasses for our friend Tracy. And I thought, you know what? I started doing some Google searching and trying to figure out and find out how other people were doing it, or if there was any information out there about how I could start doing it myself easily.
Yeah.
You know, without spending a bunch of money, because I didn't, you know, I don't have a bunch of money laying around to buy a bunch of new equipment.
I can understand that one. That's how it was with me with the podcast. It was like, okay, I don't want to dump a lot of money in it. I don't know how far I want to take this.
Yeah.
So let's just start off with what I have.
Yeah.
You know.
So basically I was going to buy this little kit that this guy has on YouTube.
Like a kit to cut glass bottles?
Yeah.
Really?
And it was, it's this little thing. It's only about this big. I ordered it and it wouldn't cut a glass bigger than, I don't know, I want to say 5 inches tall.
Okay.
So it wasn't going to work for the type of stuff I'm doing now. So I ordered it and it probably took 2 weeks to get to my house. Funny thing is, before it even came to my house, I built like a makeshift cutter based on the same idea as that one is, but bigger, on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
And I was cutting bottles before that thing even arrived. I basically went to Home Depot and I bought, you know, you've seen the little individual glass score cutters, the little carbide wheels.
I'm familiar. I don't really seek them out.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. So it was one of those. I bought one of those for like $3, and I bought some caster wheels, little maybe 2.5-inch caster wheels, and mounted them upside down on this old desk that I had, to where it kind of like the wheels kind of cradled the bottle. So there was like two wheels cradling the bottle towards the bottom, one wheel cradling it towards the top, and instead of another wheel on the top, there was the cutter. Mm-hmm. And then I had this piece of angle aluminum, like a 90-degree angle type of thing. And I screwed a bunch of different holes into my desk so I could take the screws out, adjust it for however tall I wanted to cut the glass. I don't know if this makes sense. It's hard to explain without seeing it.
It's very intriguing to me.
And so I'd be able to move.
Was able to figure this out even.
So I'd basically be able to move that stopper and adjust it depending on how tall I wanted to cut the glass.
So is it kind of like a tile cutter or something like that? Like you would see a tile saw or something like that?
Not necessarily. No.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I use now.
That's what you use now.
But what I started out as, it was basically just makeshift glass cutter with an adjustable size where I would score a line on the glass, and then I would heat it with a candle right along the score line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then after that, I'd take an ice cube and kind of put the ice cube on the side of the bottle and rotate it to where it would go all the way around, and eventually it would crack all the way through along that score line where I could just pull the top off with no effort.
And you figured this all out with just watching a YouTube video, pretty much.
Just a couple of YouTube videos, and there's
a couple of YouTube in your mind.
Well,
too.
if you search for cutting bottles on YouTube, you're going to get a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
where people say you take a piece of cotton yarn and you soak it in acetone or fingernail polish remover or something flammable like that.
Yeah,
you soak it in that, then you wrap it around the top of the bottle. And then wherever you want it to be cut, and then you light it on fire for a second, and then you turn your water on in your faucet, and then you just put the fire out, and it makes a crack along where that fire was, and it makes the most terrible, crooked, shitty cut. I've never tried it, but I watched the first video that showed how to do it. Then I watched several. You know how when you look at YouTube and it's got all these related videos that are similar to what you're looking at. So I'd watch all these related videos of other people attempting this method, and their cuts were always shitty and terrible. So
well, I mean, the first bottle that you cut, though, I'm sure wasn't that great. I'm sure. I mean, how did that come out? The very first bottle that you cut, was it just like a beer bottle, kind of like I'm looking at a?
You know what it was?
Dead Guy Ale.
You know what it was? It was Epic.
Okay.
You know the local brewery,
yeah,
Epic.
Absolutely.
They I did it with one of theirs, but the difference with theirs is their labels peel off.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. I'll get to why I don't do those in a minute. But I was just doing that. I'd peel the label off and try it with that. And I had a few that would crack uneven and stuff until I kind of got it down. Didn't take very long to get it down, but beer bottles are thin, thin glass. If I'm going to do something like a Grey Goose or something like that, that's some thick glass. At first I was doing it with that, but it would take several times. Heating it and cooling it with the candles and with the ice, it would take forever. It would eventually crack and it would be pretty decent, but it took a lot of patience and it took way too long. So eventually, I'm lucky enough to have a father-in-law that does tile. He's a tile man for a living. He bought a new tile saw and he gave me his old one. And so I bought a glass blade, a special glass blade that's just for glass tile. And I tried that, and that actually works great for the thicker glasses. Like with the beer ones, those thin ones, like the Dead Guy one, I still do that the old way because I got it down now to where I can do the score line, do one pass with the flame, and then one pass with the ice, and have it pop off with no effort. Perfect. I mean, I still have to sand it and polish it, of course, but I got that down to where it's quick enough. I don't have to do that with a tile saw. And the tile saw is pretty aggressive. It goes really fast. So with the thinner glass stuff, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not.
Have you ever injured yourself, like cutting it, like with glass, like just shattering?
I mean, I've cut myself.
But not like any serious hospital stitching.
No, there was one time, High West.
Oh.
They, their bottles are, so I've heard, each one of their bottles are hand blown by one guy in Mexico. And you've seen how cool their bottles are. They look old
really
and
cool,
rustic,
really cool, yeah.
And there's a lot of bubbles in them.
Yeah.
So I successfully did the old way, the scoring and the heating and cooling way. I successfully did maybe 2 or 3 High West bottles. And so it worked out fine. But there was one time where the score line must have been just right on one of those oxygen bubbles that was trapped in the inside of the glass. And so I did the score line and I was heating it and then I was cooling it. And as I was turning it with the ice cube on the side, I don't want to say exploded. That sounds a little too dramatic, but it popped. And
we can go with exploded.
The top just like literally popped about 6 inches in the air. And I felt a couple of little tiny glass shards hit me in the face.
Oh, geez.
But I had safety glasses on, thank goodness.
Yeah.
So it scared the shit out of me.
I could imagine.
It was just, it was quiet downstairs. All of a sudden, pop! Just scared the shit out of me. And then after that, I had never, ever attempted it with the High West again. And, a couple weeks after that is when I got that tile saw. So the tile saw works beautifully for those and all the other thicker glasses, like the other one, that Eagle Rare one that I brought, Belvedere, Grey Goose, just a bunch of different kinds. So pretty much anything thicker than a beer glass, I use the tile saw for. And even some of them that are thinner, like there's, you've seen a Johnny Walker bottle. Uh-huh. Those are really, really thin. And I wasn't sure if those would crack or not, but for some reason, I don't know if that glass is more hardy than some, but it works perfectly on those.
So now you make glasses, you make like drinking glasses for the people listening, not glasses that you wear.
Right.
Like tumblers, all different sizes. You make, what else do you eat? Like lamp shade things too? Or
like pendant lights, like the hanging pendant lights that you see maybe hanging above, when you go to a bar and they got those lights that are hanging from the ceiling, and you'll see just some kind of decorative glass on them. Mm-hmm. I can make those.
Has a bar ever shown interest? I mean, that seems like that would go really cool in a bar, man. Like for the atmosphere.
Yeah, and I've never really had any show interest, but it's hard to go into a bar and try to explain that to somebody without physically showing them what it looks like. And on my end, I haven't really pursued that too actively, which I need to. I should. It's just I don't have time. I haven't had time lately. I want to start doing that though. Like I want to, lately every bar that I go to, I kind of pay attention to their lighting situation and try to see what's going on there and see if maybe I could talk to somebody about it. But I mean, when I go out to a bar, it's Friday or Saturday night. It's busy as hell.
And you're there to drink. You're not there to sell and be a salesman.
Well, and nobody wants to talk to me when there's a line of people behind me wanting a drink.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of hard. I need to take a day off during the week or something. Go into a couple of bars that I know have those sort of lights and stop in and talk to them about it and be like, look.
And before we go too far, I want to mention your website. We'll mention it again at the end. It's ZaxWorx, right, .com.
Yep, ZaxWorx.com.
So if you're listening and you're near a computer and you want to listen, follow along, kind of see what some of the cool stuff that Zach makes, check the website out. And again, we'll mention that at the end, and it'll be on the IamSaltLake.com website as well.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
No. Yeah. I mean, I was pretty much done.
Okay. So, I mean, is there anything that you want to, I mean, like what other kind of stuff could you maybe make with glass bottles? Or is that's kind of it, I guess?
Well, I've seen a couple of websites that it's going to be hard to explain this over audio, but they kind of cut off the top of a bottle and then flip it upside down and make like some sort of glass base to where it's like almost like shaped like a wine glass.
Okay.
But there's a special glue that you got to use to be able to fuse the top rim of the glass to a glass base so it'll actually stand up. And it's got to be liquid proof. And the only thing I've been able to read about that is it's like a special UV glue to where you either have to have a UV light to kind of activate that, and it fuses it, and it's really, really, really strong, and it's watertight. Or you just put the glue on, set it up, set it out in the sun for a few hours.
What about candles? I just thought of that. Couldn't you put like candle wax in there?
I've thought of candles too, and I have a friend who is going to teach me how to do that.
Yeah.
Because I've never done that.
It seems like it would be pretty simple. Just put the wax and you put a wick in the middle.
And she tried to explain it to me, and she said, it's not as hard as you think. The only thing I was thinking of is, man, that sounds like it's going to make a fucking mess, like a big mess.
Yeah.
But she's like, no, it's really not that bad. You just once you get used to it and you figure out how to do it right, it's not that bad. And yeah, and that's the cool thing is I could make some candles, and
again, it goes back to time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's a time thing, but she said it's honestly not that time consuming.
No, but I mean, to do everything that you want to do.
Right.
You know, and that's one thing, I'm trying to even portray with the show is bringing these people on that like yourself, who you're working full-time jobs on top of pursuing a passion project or a business or a band or whatever the hell you're doing. These people, I'm sure there's times where you're up until 2 in the morning trying to finish a project and you got to get back up at 6 in the morning to go to work,
Yeah.
And,
I stay up pretty late. I do.
And, I'm sure, you mentioned you were married. Is your wife pretty supportive of your projects?
Yeah, she's cool with it. And the way it works out, like speaking of staying up late, is so even before I started doing this, I stay up till about 1 a.m. every night.
Yeah, well, that's good to know in case I want to text you.
Yeah, for sure. So and before I started doing this, I'd stay up till 1 a.m. and I was playing Xbox.
Okay.
Or I was watching movies or something. I just got, I didn't get sick of it. I still like to do it once in a while. But I just got to thinking, this is boring. I can't do this every night, all the time. And that's kind of what got me in the mindset. And going back to what I said earlier about, I watched that video, and that was around the time I was feeling that way. And I was like, and that just inspired me. So anyway, yeah, I've always stayed up really, really late. This goes in, what I guess what I was trying to go into was my full-time job that I have is I'm very fortunate that it's very flexible, and I have a boss who doesn't micromanage. I'm lucky enough to be a salary employee, so I don't have to clock in or clock out. Best thing is she's a boss that treats me like an adult, which that's hard to find.
It is very hard to find.
It's hard to find in an environment like mine where I'm working. It's a corporate setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just cubicles everywhere, that sort of thing. I'm not going to say where I work or anything, but pretty much everywhere, there's no team in my company, and it's a big company, that has as much leniency as we do. We're treated like adults, and we're trusted to be adults as long as we don't abuse it, she's cool with it. And I couldn't ask for anything more. So that's where I don't have to get up at, like you said earlier, I don't have to get up at 6 a.m. I get up.
That's probably a bit exaggerated.
I get up at like 8 o'clock.
Well, there you go.
And I sit around, and I don't really sit around. I just I really take my time getting ready in the morning because I usually don't end up being to work by like 10:30.
Okay, I need to find out where you work.
Yeah.
After we're off the air, I'll come,
It's great. I mean, and I couldn't ask for a better boss as far as that goes. But beyond that, I don't know if I want to get too.
No. That's fine. That's we don't need to know where you work at. Or anything.
Yeah. Well, as far as the rest of the job goes, this kind of goes into me wanting to do something with my hands. My job is very
boring. Yeah.
It's and for me, I'm not trying to sound, and hopefully
you like to do stuff with your hands.
Well, if any of my coworkers listen to this that are on my team, I hope they don't take offense to this, but for me, it's easy as hell. It's so...
Well, most jobs are after you've been there for a while.
It's so easy. All I do is stare at a goddamn computer screen all day. And I don't know. I'd rather be up... If I could go do some hard-ass manual labor every day, all day, in place of what I do now, for the same pay, I'd do it in a second.
But would you really... I mean, have you done hard-ass...
Yeah.
Okay.
I have. And I miss it.
Okay.
I feel...
See, I'm the type. I sell granite slabs. So that you mentioned tile. When I first got into it, it was mostly just sales, and then since with the economy and everything, I've had to learn how to do more warehousey stuff.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, I just miss just a chill, sit in a chair office job. I mean, it's like that's what I want to do, But I think everybody maybe wants to do whatever's on the other side of the fence or something.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, if I did get a job doing that, I'd probably be like, well. Maybe I didn't have it so bad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've been there almost 10 years.
Okay.
I haven't been doing the same exact job for the last 10 years, but every single job I've had there is a desk job.
And you're comfortable.
I'm comfortable, but I'm too comfortable. I feel like so I used to, for example, I used to be a fat kid in high school. So when I moved out here, well, let me go back a little bit further. So I was born in Salt Lake.
Okay.
When I was maybe 4 years old, my mom moved me and my sister out to Vernal.
Oh, geez.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But our family, my mom's dad was there. We had a lot of family there. So I pretty much grew up and went through all the way up to high school in Vernal. After high school, I got a job at Walmart. And this was right after the super Walmart there was built. It was a big deal.
Yeah, I could imagine.
And I got a night stalker job for about 4 months. And then all my closest friends had already moved out here. And I decided to move out here with a friend, and that was the day after Thanksgiving, the year 2000.
Okay, so you've been in Salt Lake for about 13 years now.
Yeah, and
from Vernal.
Yeah, and
best probably decision of your life.
Fuck yeah, I would never ever. I would never go back. I would never go back there. I have a lot of friends who are still there, and they like living there. A lot of them have, but I mean, I don't know if you know this, but Vernal's a big oil field town.
You can make a lot of money if you want to work in the oil fields there.
My grandpa was a big name out there. If I wanted to, I could probably move out there and make $90,000 a year starting. But I don't want to fucking move out there.
Yeah,
I don't want to live out in that shitty town. I don't like being in the rural area. And granted, Vernal has grown a lot in the last 10 years. Yeah. I mean, every time I go there, I don't go there very often. I go there every couple of years. Every time I go there, there's shit popping up everywhere.
See, I don't know if I've ever been to Vernal. I mean, about how many people even live in Vernal for say, somebody who's listening that might not even be familiar with Vernal? Because believe it or not, people listen outside of Utah even.
I want to say...
I mean, it's not 100,000 people or anything, is it? Maybe all the surrounding areas?
It's as much as it's grown, I wouldn't doubt if it was around 60 to 75,000 people now. It's not as small. It's a small town. It is. It's a redneck town.
And about how far from Salt Lake is it too? It's probably about 3 hours, or no?
It's if you don't stop, it's about a little over 2.5 hour drive to the east.
Okay.
So,
anyways,
yeah. I mean, it was a shitty town to grow up in, and I don't know.
You were excited to move to Salt Lake, and you came to Salt Lake and with some friends, and
yeah.
And
so we had family out here. My mom grew up here, and my mom's sister lived out here, and that's when we would come out here. It would be to visit them and my cousins, and I always loved those guys. I always looked up to them. Coming out to the city, it was my favorite thing. Like, I don't know if you've ever...
The big city.
I don't know if you've ever been, like, say when you're going to Park City and you come back and you come up around that certain point, if you come up at night.
Yeah.
And there's just that little peak you come over, and then all of a sudden you see all the city lights.
It's a beautiful sight.
For me, that was always always gave me goosebumps. It got me so excited as a little kid. I'd be like, oh, we're here. You know, and when you're a little kid, the trip, it's 2.5 hours or so. But when you're a kid, it's 27 hours. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's the worst wait ever, and it takes way too long to get there. And are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? It's that sort of thing. So that's a big memory for me as far as coming out here. But
so speaking of Salt Lake, I mean, what are some of your favorite things about living here? I mean, you know, then we can even get back into some of your bottle stuff, you know, and like what are some things you enjoy doing?
I don't know. I love that we kind of live in, you know, it's a city.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's a big city because it's not, but I think that's what makes it.
So it makes it unique.
Because
it can have a big city feel to it.
Yeah.
But yet it's small.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, I haven't traveled a lot in my life. I've been to, you know, some of the biggest cities I've been to Denver, I haven't been to like downtown LA, but I've been to that area. Been to San Diego, you know, not a whole lot of big city experience for me. But I mean, I know Salt Lake isn't nothing compared to those downtown areas as far as size. But that's what makes it better, I think, is, you know, as much as we want to bitch about traffic here.
Oh, there's no traffic.
There's no traffic here.
Yeah.
You go to LA.
That's traffic.
Yeah, that's traffic.
So, yeah, I grew up in Southern California, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
and I had a part of me that I need to move back there. You know, and the last time I visited, I was just like, good grief! You think you're going 13 miles and it takes you 2 hours?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't know how anybody gets anywhere on time down there.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that. I mean, and it's probably much harder in a city that big to find a job that's pretty close to where you live.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you have to go out. I was thinking about that. I was like, how does anybody go to school? How does anybody go to a job? How does anybody get anywhere on time down there?
Yeah,
because it's the traffic. Do you have any favorite local restaurants? Like, say, somebody who's listening. You know, I always like to find out about, you know, people's favorite places to eat at, you know.
Yeah. I'm not like a foodie or anything like that.
Oh, come on.
You know,
we all secretly are.
I like a lot of different foods. I'm very open to trying new stuff. But I mean, as far as local places I like to support.
Yeah, let's what do you like?
Lucky 13.
Oh my gosh, best burgers ever, right?
I love those guys.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to the bottle thing or to the glasses thing, they save me a lot of shit.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of your bottles from those guys?
Oh, yeah. I get a lot of them from them. I got about 4 different bars in town saving me stuff. But those guys, there's 2 owners of that bar. There's Rob and there's Jason. Those guys are great. Very, very cool guys. Rob is there enough to where he always is on top of, you know, when it's time to change out the bottles and go through what needs to be thrown away and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. He's always there, and he's always got a steady supply for me.
Well, they probably like to give them to you instead of throwing them out. I mean, you know, fills up their recycle bin or their trash bin, whatever they do with the bottles otherwise.
Well, and the guys that do that for me, you know, not just Rob and Jason and Lucky 13, but any of the bars that help me out with that, I do my best to try to keep them happy. You know, you take care of me, I'll take care of you type of thing. I'll give them free glasses here and there, work on projects for them. So for example, Rob, he had me make 2 glasses for him out of Johnny Walker Blue, which is like
the hard bottle, the thin bottle, the thin.
No, it's a
thick one.
They just recently changed it, the Johnny Walker Blue, and I think that's the most expensive Johnny Walker. And it's a square glass, and it's so thick. He wanted me to make a glass out of the first one, and I've since made them two, a matching set. But the square glasses are by far one of the hardest ones to polish and get to look good. And it's the fact that it's square and that it's so thick. So anyway, he's had me make two of those for him. And Jason, the other owner, had me make, I mentioned I make the lights. Mm-hmm. He lives in Park City. And he saw the lights that I did, and he asked me at that time, and I had never made one before. He was like, can you make those out of High West? And I thought, well, I could, but the problem is the stuff that I've made before, the only two lights that I made before that were out of a 1 liter Grey Goose bottle.
Yeah, I saw pictures of those.
Yeah.
Those look really cool.
And 750 milliliter Bombay Sapphire gin. And those were big enough to put a full-size light bulb in. But a High West, most 750 milliliter bottles are not big enough to put a full-size light bulb in. So I had to look around and find this really long, skinny, they call it a beacon light. Mm-hmm. And I found one at a local lighting store that had this really cool, they call it a smoke tint to it, but it's more, when you turn it on, it's more like an amber tint. And it's like an old style Edison light bulb where the filament glows really orange. Mm-hmm. It's not a bright light. You can stare straight at the light and it doesn't hurt your eyes. You can see the filament and the pattern and stuff like that. I don't know if you've seen those other light bulbs that you can buy like at Home Depot. The full size ones, they're like the Edison styles, what they call them. And
I'm pretty sure I have.
They got like the filament that goes up and down, back and forth, really cool patterns inside where you can actually see it, but it's low wattage enough you can look at it and see it when it's on, and it's not going to hurt your eyes. And it just kind of adds to that low light. It's a really low light, and it just looks really cool. So anyway, I found those, and I was able to make 3 of those for him, for his bar at his house. And so that's kind of some of the stuff that I do to kind of help out the guys that are helping me out.
So you build a relationship with them.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you want, feel free to mention the other bars so people, would you rather not?
No, there's
just so people can even support them since they help you out.
Yeah, the other bars that help me out, well, one of the guys that he used to work.
Well, I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
He used to work at a bar, Christoph's, but he doesn't work there anymore. He was able to save me. They were my biggest suppliers. I had 2 friends that were bartenders that worked there, but things kind of went bad there. I'm not sure what happened, but they're both gone from there now, but they still both save me bottles. One of them works at Johnny's on 2nd, I believe, and the other one works at the bar Snowbird.
Okay.
I don't know what it's called. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And then I have the Beer Hive, for all my rogue stuff. The Beer Hive saves me stuff, and so does Bayou.
Okay.
And then I also have Gracie's selling me or saving me stuff. And they're the ones that save me because nowhere else, at the liquor store you can buy it, but nowhere else actually carries them, the 1 liter bottles as opposed to the 750 milliliters. And the 1 liter Grey Goose ones are the ones I make the lights out of because they're bigger around, easier to work with. But I also make a short, fat tumbler, like a rocks tumbler with them. And I'm sure you've picked up a Grey Goose bottle before. It's a really thick, really heavy glass.
Yeah.
But that's my favorite glass I make by far because when you cut it off and polish it off, it's a short, fat glass. Pick it up, it feels great in your hand. It's heavy. That's my favorite one. So, but anyway, yeah, those are the bars.
So did you have connections at these bars, or did you just kind of approach them with what you had? Or, I mean, would you rather not say?
No, I pretty much started up. I didn't have really any connections with most of the bars.
Yeah.
I kind of.
Well, it seems like a win-win for them.
Yeah, I mean, I just
like, well, geez, yeah, we're just going to throw them out anyways, put them in this box, and then this guy comes and collects them.
Well, I just kind of approached a lot of them out of the blue and told them what I was doing. And with a lot of them, it took time. I would say, hey, will you save me these bottles? Thanks, cool, this is what I'm doing, whatever. A couple of weeks later, I'd come in and be like, oh, yeah, I don't have anything for you. Sorry, man, I forgot. They weren't really taking it that seriously. And I don't blame them, I mean, I'm sure they get that kind of shit all the time. People saying, hey, yeah, can you do this for me? I'll be back. And they never come back.
Yeah.
So I don't blame them. It's not, I would probably do the same thing if I was in their position. So that's why I started to think, all right, I need to start giving these people a reason to save me stuff. So I'll start bringing them free shit, and give them some glasses, give them this or that, do trade work, stuff like that. And and that worked out really nice so far. You know, I've had a lot of good reaction to it, and pretty much anybody, I'll tell them, I'll say because sometimes I'll go to places and they'll say, yeah, we had a box here for you, but someone threw them away. I'll be like, well, find out who threw them away.
And kick their ass.
And no, I'd like to say that, but no, I say, find out who threw them away and tell them I'll give them some free glasses to not do that anymore. I'm willing to do that. I know it's, you know, usually I sell my glasses for $15 each. So
which is a heck of a deal if you think about it.
Well, yeah, I mean
that's like handmade stuff right there.
Yeah. And so I'm hoping to most people that will be an incentive if they see what I've done and they see, because I get a lot of really good reactions to the stuff that I do when people first see it when I go to craft shows or whatnot. And I've told my wife this several times. I love sitting at my booth and seeing people coming up to my stuff. And when they first, you know, some people will kind of walk by and just kind of look at it casually and just not really notice, but then they'll double glance and then they'll like stop in their tracks and kind of back up and look and be like, oh, wait, those are okay. And then they start looking really close and then they're smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't know why. That sounds cheesy. But
people think you're just selling beer maybe or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of people that have, you know, and living in Utah. I think a lot of people that see this are like, so do you make these? Are these all your own designs? I'm like, no, these are liquor and beer bottles. I think a lot of them are probably LDS people that don't know anything about liquor or beer bottles. And why would they? You know, that's fine. But they stop. And they're looking at it and they're smiling. And I love that. I love that people are just looking at all the stuff I have on display at my booth and smiling. And I like that reaction. Even if they don't buy something, it feels good that what I'm doing is making somebody else smile. As cheesy as that sounds, I enjoy that.
What craft shows have you sold at then? Or do you sell any regularly, like Craft Sabbath or anything?
Yeah, I've done a few Craft Sabbaths. The thing is with Craft Sabbath is they don't get on their normal, you know, when there's not
it's hit and miss.
It's very hit and miss. Yeah. When it's not a popular holiday or something like that, it's hard. Yeah. So I did Christmas. So they have a November show. What they do is usually the first Sunday of every month. Mm-hmm. So I did November. December, they do the first 2 Sundays because it's Christmas season and everybody's in the buying mood and all that. November and the 2 December shows, I did awesome. I sold a shitload of glasses. And it was awesome. And then I did a downtown, like the same, you know, the Downtown Alliance or whatever. The people people that hold the farmers market, the same. So that same group. They
did like a holiday Christmassy thing.
Yeah, and I was there. I did that, and I did very well there too, and that was great. But then I did Craft Sabbath again in February. I was thinking, okay, the February before, it's right before Valentine's Day. So people will be in the gift buying mood. I sold 2 glasses.
Yeah.
So I was like, I've been, and this gets me to the tattoo convention that just happened last weekend. Yeah. I've been volunteering for them this was their 10th year, and I've been with them for 8 of those 10 years. This was my 8th year. So I've been with them since almost the beginning, and I love doing that every single year. And this year, the guy who runs it, CJ, mm-hmm. He said, you know, he told me, he's like, hey, if you want to sell your stuff there, I'm cool with that. I was like, are you serious? Because I've asked him in the past, like, how much is a booth there?
And I'm sure it's not cheap.
It's $500.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're a tattoo artist, you make that in you make
5 minutes.
You make you make 3 times that the first day you're there. Yeah. If you got, you know, if you're doing tattoos all day. So it's nothing for them. But for a guy like me, it might be worth it. It might not. I don't know. So he kind of let me sneak in there because they had an art display area. Because CJ also does some art projects on the side. There's like a skateboard project where he had a bunch of tattoo artists paint original artwork on the back of skateboards. You know, tattoo artists that are also skateboarders and like to skateboard. And there's that on display. And then there was a tarot card project where he pretty much asked tattoo artists all over the country if they want to participate in that. And the ones that did painted some original versions of tarot card art. And it was very, very, very cool. And I'd love to plug that if I could.
And plug it?
It's called Tarot of the Tattoo Age.
And are they from Salt Lake here?
Yeah, it's all in Salt Lake.
Try to get hooked up with them. And
yeah. It's a full-size, normal-size tarot deck. Same as all, but each one of the cards is a hand painted original piece of art by a tattoo artist from somewhere. I'm pretty sure most of the artists are United States. There might be a couple that are outside of the United States, but they're all just an artist's original take on all that old tarot art. So,
and say the name one more time, too.
It's called Tarot of the Tattoo Age.
Tarot. Do they have a website, you think, or anything? I think
he has a website.
Google it or Facebook it, or
if you just go to Facebook and search Tarot of the Tattoo Age, you should be able to find it. But it's a really cool project. And so anyway, I was able to include my stuff in that big booth. It was a huge booth, big art display, and I was just kind of in a corner, with my display. And it was very cool of CJ to let me take my stuff there, and I'm very grateful to him for that. So,
did you sell quite a bit of stuff at the
I did. I took I tried to do inventory. I've never done inventory before. So I tried to keep track of what I did, and I still haven't had a chance to sit down and add up everything, but I had a total of 99 glasses. From what I gather, I've sold about half of them.
There you go.
So I did pretty well. I mean, I came home with a lot of empty boxes, which is great. So that was really cool. And as far as other stuff, I really want to do the farmers market this year.
Let me get into it because it's worth it.
Yeah,
it really is.
Well, the thing is I've been trying to decide if I want to do full time or part time. I think I'm going to do part time because I don't know how well it's going to do. And again, like I said before, I don't want to get in too crazy where I can't keep up.
Yeah.
So.
Do what you're comfortable with. Do what you're comfortable. But I mean, I know it's a pretty inexpensive place to get involved.
Well, if you get a season booth, like a full season, it's $500.
Yeah, which equals out to be like $30 a Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, and you can, I know people that have done it, and they said they made 3 times that their first day.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I guess it depends on what you're selling and how cheap it is or how expensive it is or how in demand it is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the traffic, that's the best part about it.
That's where everybody goes to. And plus, they're extending it to 2:00 this year, too.
Oh, they are? Really?
Yeah. So, and that's that's one thing I notice is everybody shows up there at like 1:00 and, it's shutting down while they're extending it till 2:00 this year. So.
Good. So, yeah, I mean, I want to do that. And I kind of got to be...
What about any stores? Any local stores you find your stuff?
No. You know what? I've heard of people say, hey, is this your stuff that's in this store here, local, like on 9th and 9th? I'm like, nope, not me. But I never remember what those stores are called because I want to go check them out.
So there's somebody else out there.
Oh, yeah, there's a couple other people in town doing the same stuff I'm doing. Last year, speaking of the farmers market, there was 2 guys that were doing the same thing I'm doing. And I hope they're not listening, but they're... The edge, no pun intended, the edge I have on them is that my edges are better.
Yeah.
So there was a guy that was doing them with a lap grinder, which if you don't know what that is, you know what a pottery wheel is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just imagine a pottery wheel with like a diamond sanding disc on it, mm-hmm. and you can start out at a rough grit, change it out, and do finer grits to where you get like a mirror shine. And it's water fed and it's fast, it's easy, it's a really great tool to have. But what it does is it gives you a very flat edge on your when you go to drink out of it, it's flat. Whereas mine, if you'll notice, they're rounded. So I think that's the advantage I have on that sort of on the guy that's doing that, because yeah, it's a very flat plane on the very top. It's perfectly flat, but then his beveled edges are rough because he doesn't have the tools to polish them up and get them as shiny as the flat part is. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, it makes a lot of sense.
But me, that's the advantage I have is I do most of the polishing by hand. I don't do it by machine. It takes me longer, but the end result for me is better. I mean, my edges look better than any other.
They look great.
Any edge I've ever seen. And there's been a few other glasses that I've seen besides that. So there's the guy that we bought from originally that gave me the idea that we bought from my friend Tracy. Those were rough. They weren't polished and shiny like my edges were. And the guy at the farmer's market last year, he had that really flat edge, and the beveled edge just wasn't shined up. but I've seen other people doing it with, they do it with a flame somehow. They call it a fire polish. But I think the way that I cut stuff, I don't think a fire polish would work. I think it would crack. I've never tried it, and I don't know if it would be faster or what, but pretty much I've never seen anybody be able to get it to where I get it. I know that sounds cocky.
No.
But I've worked on it for the better part of the whole last year to try to get it perfected to where I'm happy with it. Because if I start a project, if I start anything, even if I didn't start glasses, if I'd have started something else, I would have worked at it as long and as hard as I needed to get it up to my standards. And I guess I'm a bit OCD, a bit OCD perfectionist with certain things like that. So if there's even slight little problems or this or that on there that you wouldn't notice, if the glasses I brought you had certain little blemishes or imperfections in them, you'd probably never notice them, but I would. And when I notice that on any of my glasses, I'm not willing to be like,
sell them.
They'll never notice. I don't do that. I remove that imperfection, and if I can't remove it, I trash the glass, or I just keep it at home. If I like the glass, I just keep it and drink out of it at home, but I won't sell it.
So I know you listen to the Mediocre Show,
right?
Okay, are there any other podcasts you listen to that you would recommend, or is that kind of your bread and butter right there?
No, I listen to the Geek Show.
Okay,
Geek Show podcast. I also listen. I listen to you. I listen to.
I didn't expect that.
I listen to. What's the other one? Full of Sith.
Okay,
and obviously Oblivious. Mike's podcast.
Which Mike's been a big supporter of yours.
Yeah, and I can't thank him enough. I mean,
that's how I met up with you.
Yeah, I mean, he's the reason I'm here. So, Mike, I can't thank Mike enough. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Mm-hmm. And the weird thing is I met him back in, I think it was, when was the listener party? I think it was 2011.
Yeah.
That's when I first met him or first had any interaction with him. He's just a nice guy.
Which I'm still kicking myself. I wasn't able to make that. And I'm still kicking. I hear stories about that. And it just, oh my gosh.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And I really hope those guys can make it out here again someday. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really, funny thing is, I didn't really become as good of friends with Mike until way after that. When I started doing this glass thing, he showed a lot of support. We were friends on Facebook, and he followed me on Instagram and stuff, but he's the one that approached me about working out a deal with advertising on his obviously Oblivious podcast, and he bought some product from me and stuff like that. And yeah, he's been great. I think he's the number one reason for, I'm not going to say my website's really popular, but I can track the hits, the daily hits.
Yeah.
I don't think I would get nearly as many hits as I do if I didn't have an ongoing running commercial on his podcast. Which,
if you're a business owner, listen to that. I mean, I think that's the hardest thing with doing podcasts is people don't realize how effective advertising on a podcast can be.
Yeah.
Especially when it's somebody like Mike who can stand behind his product.
Yeah.
It's not just like, I have this perfume, or, I'm selling these flowers or something. It's like, you know what? He can get behind ZaxWorx, and that's really important. I think, a lot of people, cause another nice thing about podcasts is they're virtually up forever. It isn't like a radio show where once you listen to it on the radio, it's going to be gone. That advertising is there forever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you go back through the back catalog of any of those shows and, your little advertisement on there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this show that I'm doing right now.
Exactly.
Someone can listen to it in
6 months, a year down the road.
Yeah, a couple years down the road and be like, oh, let's check this out.
Yeah. And that's what I hope to create with Salt Lake City, is this big database of all these people that are making this area better. Mm-hmm. A little bit more awesome to live in, like I like to say, and throw that word around, because without people like you, this city wouldn't be what it is. I mean, you don't know how many, think of all the people that have affected you. Think about all the people you're affecting, and think about all the people you will affect. Just a couple more questions, and just to kind of wrap it up here. just to kind of even talk more about Salt Lake City, you mentioned the tattoo convention. Do you have any favorite local tattoo artists that you would, I've never really talked to anybody about tattooing, and I want to get some tattoo artists on the show.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
But, and I've had a few scheduled, but then conflicts happen.
Yeah.
Is there any favorites of yours locally? Or?
Oh, I have a lot. There's a lot of good. I mean,
or I guess you don't want to leave anybody out.
Well, and here's the thing. I think a lot of people don't know this about me. I'm probably the biggest tattoo nerd you'll ever meet. That's not an actual tattoo artist.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to explain. For example, I'm following probably over 700 people on Instagram.
Mostly tattoo artists.
I'd say 98% of them are tattoo artists.
That's great.
I look at it every day.
Maybe I need to switch my feed to that because I got kind of bored of it.
Yeah.
I used to be pretty into Instagram.
Well, I mean, those guys are posting sketches, tattoos, just stuff every day. And it's very inspirational because, again, I do the tattoo artwork inspired paintings. And, lately I haven't had enough time to get to some of the projects I've been working on and finish them. But it's still inspirational. And when I see something I really like, I'll screenshot it and save it. If I ever need reference for whatever it may be, a rose, a snake, whatever, because I love to draw that stuff. It's so
you ever
fun.
thought about just getting a gun and teaching yourself and doing it in your garage or something?
Well,
or is that that could probably be a whole nother podcast.
If I was to do that, I would be looked down by the professionals that I respect and look up to. And I'm not willing to do that.
Why would you be looked down on?
Because
I don't know that much about the tattoo as far as that stuff goes.
Is
that frowned upon to tattoo?
Very much, very much. Because the problem is, if you have no knowledge whatsoever, if you just buy a tattoo machine from some shitty company that's selling this tattoo kit online for fucking $200, it says everything you need to start tattooing. It's not everything you need. You need to learn. There's so much to learn about it. Over the years, I've learned a lot. I know more. I know a lot more than the average person does about technical stuff, about tattoos and stuff like that. I'm not saying I'm an expert and I know everything, but I know enough to respect it like that. So if I was to do that, I'd be looked at as what's called a kitchen scratcher.
Okay, new term I didn't know.
Someone who tattoos out of their kitchen, and they're not educated on the sterile part of it, bloodborne pathogens, stuff like that. You can give someone hepatitis from tattooing them if you're not clean enough.
Really?
If you don't,
well, I knew that, but I've never really thought about it.
You can really fuck someone up, put them in the hospital if you're not, if you're not doing shit right. You can really mess someone up. And it's not just that. It's just you're looked down upon because in a way, you're kind of hurting the local scene.
Yeah, the local, because then they're coming to you for the good deal.
Yeah, they're coming to you for the cheap.
Isn't that the worst? Is when people they try to brag about this great deal that they got from some shitty ass artist, and then they try to show it to you, and you're like, good grief, that looks like crap.
Well, and how do you say that to somebody? You don't say, that looks like shit. You want to say that to somebody that just got a brand new tattoo that they're really stoked on, and it's like, that looks terrible.
Yeah.
You don't want to just crush them. It's hard to say that, but
that's how it is with this angel on my arm. It's like, I get a deal from somebody, and it's like, I wouldn't say regret, but it's definitely something I wish I would have put more thought into.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I did that once. I went to the cheaper guy once.
Yeah.
And I'll never do it again.
So if you're listening, spend a little more money.
Live by these words. Good tattoos aren't cheap. Cheap tattoos aren't good.
There you go.
That's all you got to remember. And don't search around for the best deal. Search around
for an artist that you like.
For an artist that is good, that is competent.
Well, and that goes back to my question. There's got to be a few names you can throw out there without feeling like you're leaving anybody out there.
Yeah, there's Yellow Rose Tattoo. I've gotten tattooed by a few of those guys. Galen Justice, very cool dude. Luis Flores, the guy's very good. God, who else is there? Matt Miskol.
See, and I'm not familiar with any of these.
That's Miskol is how you spell his name. He's one of the newer guys, but man, he's getting really good, really fast. Like, I've been following him for a while. Like, before Yellow Rose was Yellow Rose, They were with some other artists at a place called 11th Street Electric Tattoo. And Matt started working there. And you know, those guys split up. And it wasn't a bad split up. It was just a mutual split up because the rent was way too much at that place. So they split up. Some of the artists went over to Cathedral Tattoo, which I would recommend anybody there. Jake Miller.
I know Tyler was tattooing out of there. Didn't he move?
Tyler Densley.
Yeah, he's an old friend. I've known him since he was like 13 years old.
Maybe not. You might. I have no idea. I haven't been into Cathedral for a while. But CJ Fishburne, he's there too. He's really good. Back to Yellow Rose. Cody Collins works there. He's good. One guy I'd really love to promote is Caden Olson at Big Deluxe.
Okay.
That guy, my wife got tattooed by him for her birthday in November. She got a rose like on her shin, right above her ankle. That guy impresses me with every single thing he posts. He's going to be, and he's young. He's like 21 years old, and he's killing it right now. I mean, that guy has nowhere to go but up, and I can't wait to get tattooed by him. Like I'm coming up with big stuff for him because I want to get. He's up there. I'm a bit picky with my styles. So a lot of the guys that I mentioned do some really, really, really cool stuff, but a lot of them do really solid traditional based stuff. You know what I mean? If you're into the older school style of traditional tattooing, those guys are killing it and they're doing a perfect job. I love looking at those tattoos. Most of my tattoos they're not like that. I like what's called a neo-traditional style, which is more of a modern twist on a lot of that older stuff. It's hard to explain, but Caden, that guy he's right there where my style is.
Isn't it amazing that Salt Lake City has such really an amazing tattoo scene?
Oh, it does.
I mean, it really blows me away. I mean, it's blown me away for years. I got a lot more work I need to get done. Obviously, it's just all about money, really. But you know, I noticed this years ago of that there's such a big tattoo scene here.
Oh, yeah, it's
what have you don't by chance have anything from Vic Back, do you?
No,
Yeah,
but
he's a good friend.
But I would promote him endlessly. I've seen all those guys.
Yeah, he did the work on my left arm here.
I know they kind of split up. They used to all be at Good Times.
Yeah.
Some of them are still at Good Times, and some of them split up went to another
27.
27.
Vic opened up 27.
Yeah. But all those guys are good. Like Vic Back, Alex Hinton.
He's still at Good Times, though, isn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Pat Delvar. I'm not sure.
I think Pat went over to 27.
Is he
I think
at 27?
Bonnie's still at Good Times.
And there's a guy
Amanda's at 27.
Amanda's at 27. She used to be a Lost Art.
She's really good.
She's great.
Yeah.
And I think she goes by Miss Amanda.
Miss Amanda.
Like if you want to follow her anywhere, Miss Amanda. Yeah, there's a lot of good tattoo shops in town, but I think there's more shitty ones in town than there are good. And that sucks.
Yeah.
Because for the average person who doesn't do their research, I mean, they get fucked in the end, you know? I mean, for someone who doesn't know any better, I mean, you can't expect much more out of them. They should do their research, but at the same time, the average person doesn't have that sort of an eye for art, I guess you could say. I don't know. They don't. There's a lot of people that will go and they'll stumble upon a tattoo shop and they'll be like, well, they own a shop.
So they must be good.
They're professionals. I mean, why wouldn't they? If they weren't good, they wouldn't own a shop, right? No, that is not the case.
And then there's shops in town that have sayings that say like a new needle every time. It's like, well, hello.
Well,
you know,
that's an industry standard.
You know, to use that as a promotional tool makes you wonder a little bit.
Well, yeah. It's like, that's like a doctor, you know, promoting that they use a new scalpel every time or they use a new pair of rubber gloves every time. Like, well, yeah, that's how it should be with every single tattoo artist. That's the way it is. That's just a stupid thing to promote yourself.
Yeah. Anyways, I appreciate you coming on. Let's run down the list. And I appreciate you brought some Hopperizing, my favorite.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite beers. Yeah, probably the favorite squatter's beer.
Well, it's a good beer and it's the best bang for the buck. I mean, 9% alcohol. You can't argue with that.
And a couple of glasses that I much appreciate.
Yeah, yeah.
And
well, I brought them because I appreciate you bringing me on here. I mean, you're doing nothing but helping me out. I mean, you're doing what you love, but you're helping me out because people are going to listen to this and go to my website. And so
Which your website again is, go ahead and feel all the contact information. Let's start rattling them off.
ZaxWorx.com, ZaxWorx.com. If anyone has any questions, you can email me through the website, or if you don't want to go through the website, it's Zachadoo88@gmail.com. That's ZACHADOO and the number 88@gmail.com. And if anyone has any questions, one of the questions I get a lot is, if I have some bottles laying at home, can you cut them for me? Which I'm willing to do that, but a lot of people don't realize, what kind of bottle do you have? Does it have a peel-off label? And a lot of them say, well, yeah, it does. And I say, well, what's it going to look like without the label on it?
Like a brown bottle.
Yeah. Is it going to be just a plain glass, or is there going to be something distinctive about it that will separate it, and people can still look at that and know exactly what it is? So, for example, High West whiskey has a peel-off label, but again, those are hand-blown bottles. And on the bottom, it has an embossing that says Park City, Utah on them.
Yeah.
Or Jameson. Jameson's labels peel off, but on the bottom, it has John Jameson and Sons signature on it. So I mean, it's a Jameson. So there's certain things where you can email me. There are people that will still say, well, yeah, it'll look like another glass, but these are glasses that my mom gave me years ago, and I'd still like them cut into glasses if you want to do them. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. But if you want them to look like something unique, just remember the labels aren't going to be on there.
And you've done like old Coke bottles too.
Yeah,
right?
I did.
You haven't. It's not just liquor bottles that we're talking.
I mean, I can do other stuff. I've done. It was actually Mexican Coke bottles.
Okay.
And those turned out great, and I want to start doing more of those because I posted those on Facebook and I sold them like 5 minutes later. So I mean, there's a lot of people that are into that and stuff, and I just need to get someone who Free to Bistro is where I got those. Okay. And so I want to go to those guys and say, can you guys stop throwing these away and maybe save them for me, and I'll start selling them? And I can give them some free stuff in the meantime to do that. But I mean, as far as there was a guy today, and I didn't get to stop. I was too busy today doing some running around. But there's a guy on 21st South by that. God, what was it, like maybe 400 East? Mm-hmm. And he was selling. He had like 5 tables. He was selling a bunch of antique bottles.
Wow.
There's a lot. There's a whole section of like blue, all these different shapes, stuff like that. And I was like, I should probably stop there. But at the same time, I don't want to buy an old antique bottle for $10 and then go to cut it and find out that it's brittle and it fucking cracks in half.
Yeah.
I guess I should stop and find out how much he's selling them for and just kind of play around with it. But he had like old antique Sprite bottles, like the green ones with the little...
See, those would be cool.
Yeah, those would be awesome. Stuff like that. And
I wonder if there'd be a bottle that you can make little shot glasses out of.
Yeah, I do that. So...
That's a whole nother tangent, huh?
No. The shitty thing is, one of the downfalls of living in Utah is that we don't have access to those little shooter bottles.
Yeah.
In pretty much every other goddamn state.
That's true. Those would be perfect.
And I get those. I get friends. So my in-laws live in Wyoming. Every time we go up.
Bless Wyoming, right?
No, every time we go out there, that's how we get those dead guys.
Yeah.
Because I don't get those, like the Beer Hive and the Bayou doesn't carry those. They only carry the little ones. So I go out there and I'll buy a case of those every time I go out there, or the little glass Grey Goose ones, or the Belvederes. Yeah. I've made shot glasses out of those. Crystal Head, the Crystal Head vodka.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd's vodka. They sell little shooters of that, fucking $10 a piece.
Ooh.
They're expensive, but they make awesome glasses. And anytime
I might have to place an order because I got no shot glasses here.
And so. anytime I have any of those, they sell out. I had 2 of them at the tattoo convention. I sold out of them the first day.
Yeah,
like fast. I mean, if we had that sort of shit here, I'd be buying that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, we don't. And I have some Grey Gooses, and they cut off. They make nice little shot glasses. I just wish we could get that here. I just don't have a good supply of them here in Utah. It kind of sucks. But other than that, I mean, if anyone has some of those and they're listening and they want me to cut them off, if they're saving them, you can send them to me. I'll cut them, polish them up, send them back to you, and I'll give you a little bit of a discount for supplying, your own bottles, stuff like that. So, I mean,
is this stuff pretty hard to send or what? I mean, I could imagine it breaks in the mail.
Well, I used to be in a shipping department
with a manager who was very anal about packing stuff and doing it right. You know, he wasn't shy with the packing paper.
Yeah.
And he taught me a lot about that. I mean, I learned a lot from him. As corny as it sounds, I mean, I learned a lot from him about shipping.
Yeah.
Like he was good, very good. And so I still follow the same rules that he taught me. I sent, speaking of Mike Pilot, I sent him 8 glasses in one box.
And they got to him just fine.
I packed the shit out of them.
Pennsylvania.
And I mean, he was saying that they were tossing them around. He watched the UPS guy bring them up.
Yeah.
And he was tossing them around and throwing them, and he opened it up, was afraid they were all going to be broken. They were all fine.
Nice.
So I do a good job at packing them. So they're not hard to ship. I'm not worried about it. So
well, cool. Yeah. I mean, that's, you know, as long as people know that they can get their stuff safe, you know?
Yeah. And if anybody was to, you know, if I was to ship some stuff to somebody and it came to them broken, I would have no problem with sending them another one at no charge.
Yeah.
Because
you're a nice guy.
It's not my fault. It's not their fault. It's somebody else's fault. But being on the receiving end of that, I would hate to be told by the person I bought something from, well, I'm sorry, it wasn't my fault. I packed it. I can't do anything about it. If you want some more, you're gonna have to buy them. I'm not gonna do that.
Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll
Sucker, I got your money.
right. I'll be cool enough to send it to him again. You know, just to keep relations up. You know, and there's a guy who I feel bad. So around Christmas time,
you got something bad happened. Huh?
Well, it wasn't that bad. There around Christmas time, I had some stuff on my website, and one of those things was a red stripe glass. And red stripe here, you know, you can only get the little tiny ones, little 6-pack ones, but they have bigger ones, pint size.
You mean they make bigger ones?
Yeah, no, right? Weird. So, I had a few of those, and I put them on the website because a lot of people like red stripe. Red stripe's a great beer.
Absolutely.
And I forgot to update my website to say that I was sold out of them. So a guy ordered them.
Oh.
A guy ordered one of those and then one of another one. And immediately, and this was when I was doing that holiday market downtown at the Galvin Center, immediately I emailed him. I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm out of that. It was my fault, blah, blah, blah. So we ended up ordering something else, and he was really cool about it. He was a local guy. He was from North Salt Lake somewhere. And he was really, really cool about it. And I told him, I was like, whenever I get one of these in again, which I just barely got some, I'll send you one for free. I'm willing to do that. I just cut it off the other day. I haven't polished it off yet. So as soon as I do, I'm going to send it to him. And he's probably not going to expect it. He's probably going to open it up and be like, oh, that's cool. You know, I mean, I just want to be, I want to have good customer service like that. You know what I mean? I want people to be happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to piss anybody off. I don't want to make any broken promises. I don't want to say, oh yeah, I'll totally do this for you. And then 6 months later, forget about it and not do it. It's been 3 or 4 months. He probably doesn't even remember it. So
one day he's going to go to his mailbox and
Yeah.
he's going to find himself a little surprise.
yeah, he's going to get it. He's going to be surprised. And
Are you on Etsy at all? Do you sell on Etsy?
No. And I don't want to down talk Etsy at all. This is a great website, but I went with Big Cartel.
Okay. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah.
Because it costs me less money. So if you go with Etsy, they charge you money to place the ad. They charge you money when you sell something. And if you sell it through PayPal, PayPal also charges you.
Yeah.
So everybody takes a cut. You know, Etsy takes a cut to place the ad. They take a cut to make the sell. PayPal takes a cut to process the sale. With Big Cartel, I'm paying $10 a month. They don't charge anything more than that. And it's up to 25 products.
Plus,
And
they're from Utah. Big Cartel, aren't they located here? I'm pretty sure they're located here in Salt Lake City.
Are they? I didn't know that.
Pretty sure.
Well, that's cool.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just the hops rising talking, you know?
Yeah, maybe. No, I don't know. But it makes more sense that way. And so it's just Big Cartel. But
if you go to the ZaxWorx, it leads you right there.
Yeah, you don't have to go to ZaxWorx.bigcartel.com. That's another thing Mike helped me out with. He actually,
I remember him being like, "Come on, just get a website."
Yeah, he's a web designer, and he actually called me on the phone and said, "Listen, let's get this set up. Buy your domain name, and I'll help you set it up to where people don't have to do the Big Cartel." And he also did it to where they don't have to type the www, just ZaxWorx.com, and he'll take it. And he actually helped me with Google search stuff. I have no idea how to fucking do any of that.
See, I should have him help me out.
Oh yeah, he's he's an expert at it. I mean, he did it in, God, it took him 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He was done. So I'm thinking about upgrading to, because it's $10 a month and I get, I think, 25 products, 3 pictures of product, but I can upgrade and pay $20 a month. And that gets me to 100 products and 4 pictures per product. And I have a lot of just odds and ends shit that's not on my website that I sell like at the tattoo convention or, you know, whatever, wherever I'm at. Just a bunch of odds and ends stuff that I could definitely probably put 50, 60 products on there. Easy. Yeah. So I'm thinking about upgrading to that.
You have a Facebook fan page or anything or not really?
I don't have a Facebook fan page, but my personal Facebook is just, I believe it's just facebook.com/Zachadoo88. Just like my email, ZACHADOO88.
Well, I know people like the Facebook.
Yeah. And it's not, that's my personal Facebook. If you want to befriend me and whatever, I'll accept your friend request and you'll see a lot of my personal life on there. And I'm okay with that. I don't post anything on Facebook that I don't want to be.
I was a little surprised on the amount of naked photos you post.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I'm not that shy.
Just kidding.
But I post a lot of, glass stuff on there when I'm working on glasses or working on paintings or a project. I'll post a lot of stuff on there. And if someone wants to follow me on Instagram, I do believe it's the same. I think it's Instagram. I think it's just at Zachadoo88. I'm pretty sure.
Well, you could double check that and even so I can get it into the notes of the podcast episode. Feel free to anything else you want to add, and then I'll let you go, and I'll let you enjoy your evening. And again, I appreciate the glasses that you brought me, and I appreciate the conversation. I mean, you've been a really fun guest.
Well, thanks. Well, I appreciate you having me on.
I really, I didn't know you existed before Mike, so we both owe Mike a hug.
Yeah, definitely.
Big hugs to Mike and all you guys out east. So, anything else you want to add?
No.
I think we got it covered. I think we got it covered. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Many thanks goes out to Zach Martinez from ZaxWorx.com for coming on the show and sharing your story with the rest of the podcast listeners, finding out a little bit more about ZaxWorx.com. Again, you can find out all of those links at IamSaltLake.com, episode 57 show notes, where you can get in touch with him and also purchase some of his bottles. Tell him that you heard about him on the I Am Salt Lake podcast. A few other ways you can help out with the podcast. You can leave us a review on iTunes. A 5-star review really helps us get in front of more people, helps out the show, and also lets me know what you think of that. Also, if you do listen via Stitcher Radio, give it a thumbs up. That helps out the show as well. Also, a donation. We have a donation button on the website, IamSaltLake.com. It's on the far right-hand side, about halfway down. Donation really helps out keep the show, helps keep the bandwidth, helps with anything to keep the podcast going, and is very much appreciated. Also, share us on any social media sites that you might be on. Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr. Any of those sites really helps us get in front of more people. Feel free to retweet any of the tweets that I post. I'm on Twitter, twitter.com, I am Salt Lake. Feel free to post any retweets. That is very much appreciated and helps the show grow as well. I do have a voicemail line. It's 385-202-5926. Give me a call. Leave me a voicemail. If you have any events coming up that you want to promote, I'd love to play them on a future episode. If you want to just say hello, or if you have any feedback, 385-202-5926 is the voicemail. IamSaltLake@gmail.com is the email address, and drop me an email if you're doing something really cool. I know summer's right around the corner. A lot of events coming up. If you're a local musician, if you're a local artist, drop me a line if you have any interest in coming on the show and sharing your story with the rest of Salt Lake City. Like I said, I'm going to end the show playing a song by a group, Broken Silence, Can't Stop Pushing. Really great track. I'm going to end today's episode playing that track. Thank you again so much for all of your continual support and for everything. Very much appreciated. Catch you guys next time.
I let my tape rock to my tape pop. Make sure my mic is loud and my production is tight. The killers, broken sounds, the realest. Pump up the volume. I let my tape rock to my tape pop. Make sure my mic is loud realest.
Hey yo, I burned, seek the hesitated, I heard them, never hated the word, be meditated, observed them, levitated, observe. Yes, this has gotta play, punch it with the clock and paid. Means I'm ready for whatever, whenever, in any weather, whether or not. In any measure, the pressure is hot. Lessons we learn, the letters of God, the cheddar we earn, the better on top, the better we are. You know we can't be stopped. Props, I'm underrated, the cops is over hatred, the box is overrated, the floss is overstated. I've got to be the one and only one who chose me. Now closely, you just sit and listen. I'm coming like reproduction. My love your music, she spits it like prism. Born with the inner wisdom, torn from a sinner's prison vision. I lay back and look into the sky, spread my wings. Yes, I'm fly.
I let my tape rock till my taste pop. Make sure my mic is loud and my production is tight. The killers, broken sounds, the realest. Pump up the volume. I let my tape rock till my taste pop. Make sure my mic is loud and my production is tight. The killers, broken sounds, the realest. Pump up the volume.
Inside my mind is aching like it's time to explode. I can't stop pushing with my mind on the road. Never sitting still, I'm getting real adapted to fast pace. Sitting real and still, trying to adapt and snatch grace through the cracks of opportunity. That usually means I'm trying to live the message that I musically bring. But brutally, dreams have a tendency to break. So dependency and faith is a beautiful thing. I'm moving the game swiftly, opposite of grain. Cause I feel inside that I've gotta be the change that I wanna see. A lot of people thought of me as strange, though a part of me has changed the monotony and pain. So let this music free your mind and redefine the truth. Using words to lead the blind so that we can find the proof. It's ungodly how oddly and fraud we trust, but it's planted subconsciously, fog and dust. Listen,
I let my tape rock till my taste pop. Make sure my mic is loud and my production is tight.
the killers, broken sounds, the realest.
Pump up the volume. I let my tape rock till my taste pop. Make sure my mic is loud and my production is tight.
The killers, broken sounds, the realest.
Pump up the volume.
I can't stop pushing, I am my J. They don't know why I'm shining bright and turning night into the day. Hey, my calling, let that motherfucker up bang. I can't change, I'm an animal, I can't be tamed. Don't get caught up in the flame, ain't no stopping when I aim. You ain't escaping when I rock, you getting locked up by the chains. I'm on fire, I'll remain the same till I decide to bring the rain and rearrange your brain. I'm higher than a satellite, I'm gone, I'll be out of sight. I'll find you in the afterlife for acting like you had a right. I sacrifice a meal to lighten up my appetite, cause after night I eat them up when I decide to grab a mic. I know it's crazy how some things will change, never gonna be the same. Whether I'm on center stage or in the street, just let it rain. There's better days approaching, a better way I'm hoping. No matter where I'm going, the silence will be broken.
I let my tape rock till my taste pop. Make sure my mic is loud and my production is tight.
The killers, broken sounds, the realest.
Pump up the volume. I let my tape rock till my taste pop. Make sure my mic is loud and my production is tight.
The killers, broken sounds, the realest.
Pump up the volume. I let my tape rock till my taste pop. Make sure my mic is loud and my production is tight.
The killers, broken sounds, the realest.
Pump up the volume. I let my tape rock till my taste pop. Make sure my mic is loud and my production is tight.
The killers, broken sounds, the realest.
Pump up the volume.
Hey guys, this is Alex calling from Rovelli's Ristorante Italiano. Just wanted to let you know of an upcoming event that we're having on April 11th at 6:30 p.m. It is our spring wine tasting, and it promises to be a lot of fun. We're teaming up with the Hive Winery, a local winery that makes fruit wine out of Layton, and they're going to be joining us to bring you one of the most exciting events of the spring. We're super excited about it because our wine tastings are a lot of fun. And right now we are almost sold out, but we have a few spots left, and we have a 4-course dinner. We're going to be having 3 different wines to sample. Again, that's Thursday, April 11th, and the time is 6:30 p.m., and it's at Rovelli's Ristorante Italiano at 174 25th Street in Ogden, Utah. The dinner will be $65. That will be breaking it down to $38 for the dinner and $27 for the wine. This does not include gratuity or sales tax. So give us a call at area code 801-394-1070, or you can make a reservation online at www.rovallis.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.